welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Think Global Podcast. I'm your host, International Seth, and today's date is February 18th, 2021. Make sure you subscribe to this channel to get all the latest videos and content straight to your inbox. Today is a little bit different on the show because normally we talk about overseas basketball, but today we have a unique situation where we're going to be talking about overseas football, and that's American football to be exact, because we know that the rest of the world, I would say 95% of the world, called soccer football, but here in America, or there in America where I grew up or where my guest is from, we call American football, good old gridiron football. So I'd like to welcome my guest to the show, Mr. Andre Jones. What's up, Andre? Welcome.
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Thank you very much for inviting me on your show. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so you're up there in Seattle, Washington, just so my audience knows exactly where you're at. And you're a CFL legend, man. The CFL stands for the Canadian Football League. So you rocked in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, I took a roundabout route to get up here, going through the semi-pro league for 2 years, winning the championship, and then getting a contract offered to me up in the CFL. So I did a 6-year stint up there, so enjoyed every bit of it. Went to the Grey Cup a couple of times, and so got a ring, so that's all good.
Okay. So you got my man, got him a ring. Cool. Okay, before we get into all that, we have a segment on our show that we have all of our guests come on, and we give them 10 seconds to name off some of the countries that you've been to. Because here on the Think Global Podcast, it's all about thinking global. So we're going to put Andre Jones on the World Cup. Ready, go.
Okay, I started out Puerto Rico, Germany, Italy, went to Mexico, Canada, and now I'm back in the United States. So not a whole lot of travel at this point.
Hey, but that's quite, you touched down a lot of continents, Mexico, Canada, you get a little stints in Europe. So, you've seen the world, right? You've seen the world.
Yeah.
You haven't been confined to the United States. So, yeah, thank you and welcome back on the show. So, in the CFL, what position did you play?
I was a defensive back. Well, in college, I was a running back. Then I went to the CFL and they switched me to defensive back. So I played 6 years of defensive back. Started out as a strong safety. And then as you get older, you get a little slower. And so they moved me back to free safety. So yeah, I did a 6-year stint up in the CFL.
Okay. What team did you play for?
I started out my first 3 years with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and then moved on over to the BC Lions up in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm aware of that because growing up in Seattle, remember, they had a CFL league that's going on up there, and some players were getting placed up there. So yeah, I remember that. So from my recollection, the CFL actually started in like the 1958.
1958.
Yeah. So it's like a well-established league. That's a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Currently, it has like 9 teams. But
19.
Yeah, and was that the same?
Yeah.
So what are you playing for? Here in the NFL, they have a Super Bowl. Is the Grey Cup equivalent to the Super Bowl?
Equivalent to the Super Bowl, yeah, exactly, yeah. And they have, our games average 60, 70,000 people at the games. So we get pretty large crowds there. And like you said, they have 9 teams there, and we play each other twice. Then we have the playoffs, and then they go to the championship, the West against the East for the championship. And so, but it's a fantastic league up there. Yeah, it's working. They had to sit out this year due to COVID, but they're going to try to revamp it and get it going for the next year.
So obviously, the immediate competition from the league's perspective is the NFL, right? So obviously, you can't have the 2 seasons going together at the same time. So what makes the CFL different than the NFL? Are there different rules? I've heard like the thing is wider, but how does that work?
Well, you look at it almost like a soccer field, but the end zones in the CFL, if you're on the 1-yard line, you still have 25-yard end zone. So you got 25 yards to play with. So you can still run a post corner. You can run deep out, Then there's, they play with 12 men down in the United States and the NFL and the colleges down here. they play with 11 men. In the CFL, they play with 12 men. And usually it's imports that are playing. We have the special positions. You're going to have receivers, your quarterbacks, and the most defensive backs. Most of those will be in the skill positions. And so that makes it, they're only allowed to have, when I played, they only were allowed to have 15 Americans per each team. Now I believe they vamped it up to 21. Okay. So yeah, and a lot of Americans will leave the NFL and come up to the CFL and vice versa. Yeah, it's back and forth. Yeah, they'll leave the CFL and go up to the NFL.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of quarterbacks that came from the CFL in the recent years to go over there. Yeah, so let's talk about actually Canada in the whole, because when I think of Canada, I think obviously the most popular sport is ice hockey. Basketball, even though they had, like Toronto, they had success with the NBA championship with Kawhi Leonard and everything. I don't really see I would say it's becoming more and more popular in Canada, definitely. Soccer, I'm not sure. I think they have a couple of soccer teams in Canada as well. But so how does American football or the CFL compare to like other professional sporting leagues?
Well, it's big, and the CFL is pretty huge in Canada now. But hockey, ice hockey, NHL, that's probably the premier sport in Canada. They're real big on hockey. They do soccer, but it's not. I don't feel that it's as big. But I would say hockey and then the CFL. That's how it lines up, as far as popularity, and individuals 1 and 2 go to those events.
All right. So you're saying there's about 60,000 people in the stands cheering you guys on. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. You're out there, and a lot of times, a lot of the people, afterwards, been who we were when we played back in the day. We got close to the people, and we got to know a lot of the people we got to know, because we would do special engagements where we would go out and talk to different crowds and go to the schools, so you got that close personal contact with the people to, talk about the games and things going around town.
Okay, so I mean, 60,000 is a lot of people, and they have a 9-team league. So I think there is a strong demand for football there. So what do you think about like the NFL's vision of going globally and having franchises in foreign countries as well? I think off the top of my head, some prime targets is obviously in Mexico, and also in London. And I think Frankfurt, Germany would be a strong consideration as well. Yeah. So do you think that's like feasible, possible? Because, you only have one game, but, that is like a 9-hour flight. So True. Is there advantage to the home team?
Yeah, I think it's possible if your country and the fans buy into it. And it's how you market it. If you can do a good marketing campaign and you market it well, and as you know, the NFL are playing games over there right now. They go over to London, they go to Germany and play special games, at the beginning of the season or prior to the season. And I think if the country buys into it, the fans buy into it, then you got a good product, and it's just how you market it, how you present it to them, yeah.
Okay, well, I would definitely be interested in seeing that the NFL go global with some of their franchises. Maybe just like, I think Mexico would be a good one to start, and I think London could be a good one to start too. I mean, I've every year you saw the more and more. First it was just a one-off game, then it was like an annual thing. Now they have like 3 or 4 games in London. So I think there's just on the tip of saying, okay, we can establish a franchise there as well. So,
and I think that might be the first franchise that they do start over there would be in London or Germany, because those guys are already involved they're already doing it.
Yeah. So let's talk about your ring, man. So you got a ring. You won a championship in the Grey Cup. So you're a CFL legend. You are a legend. So let's talk about your ring, man.
You're a little piece.
Oh, hold on. Let me put my sunglasses on. Raise it up a little bit.
Got some ice there. Yeah. So it's 1985, we had took the championship. I went twice in 1983, and we lost by 1 point, 17-18. And then next year we got knocked out of the playoffs, and then the following year, 85, we won it again. Yeah, so those were good times, good times, and we enjoyed it. And I try to stay in touch with all of the players that I played with. I'm FaceTiming them, and we're doing our thing. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I mean, winning something like winning a championship is a lifetime memory that you'll never forget, man. I can only imagine as winning as like a high level that you just did. So, what were some perks involved that you guys won the championship? Did you guys get sponsorships, or is there,
yeah. Back then we had
money.
What was fortunate with us, the pay is not as good as it is in the NFL, of course, because we're dealing with 19s, and you guys are dealing with more advertisements, commercials and that nature of thing. But I think the winner of the Grey Cup, each player would get $22,000, and the loser would get 11. Then you get a ring. The winner's got a ring, but you got your playoff funds too. As you work your way up through the playoffs. But it was. Then some other perks were just I got a contract with Nike, and so I go into the Nike warehouse and just pick out. I got my son Corey, I got my daughters Javon, all of them getting clothes, So it has some good perks that came with it. So now I got to go downtown to the Nike store.
Yeah, man. Hey, don't forget your boy, though, man. Don't forget your boy.
I got you.
Hey, I'm a size 13, man. I'm a size 13. Extra large. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So before we let you go, Andre, let's talk about, because my father, he played 10 years in the NBA, and they have an annual ex-players annual retreat that the ex-players association does every single year, and usually it's at these like tropical place, in Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Las Vegas, Miami, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to go with them when I was growing up, even as a teen, as an adolescent, and I used to like shake hands or rub hands with like some really NBA legend, Bill Walton, Kareem, and Oscar Robinson, and all these guys, man. So but then I really felt bad for them in a way because, I saw that they had a lot of ailments, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some had pain, some were limping, lots of surgeries, wheelchairs, and it's just like, man, they really paid a toll to be that, that professional athlete, Maybe I would say now the treatment and the science preventative measures that are taking place allows more longevity, but never it's 10 years and 15 years of running up and down on anything is going to do damage to your joints and your ligaments and your muscles and your bones and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you experience any long-term injuries that's after you start playing,
Well, I long-term injuries afterwards, not so, but I did. That's the reason I retired and stopped playing in the CFL. Was I broke my ankle and my tibia bone. It went up for an interception, came down with two guys on my back, snapped, it broke. Then they put 6 pins and a metal plate in my ankle. And I was about 32 years old at that point. And that's a long career if you're going, to 32, 33 in football. Now you're getting older, So, but to this day, it doesn't really bother me as much. I can go jogging, I can go run, I go to the gym, but I've seen a lot of guys that have just their whole knees, ACLs gone, but I was fortunate enough not to get to that point. Yeah.
Have you seen a lot of guys with like the CTE and the like, because you guys are playing a hard hitting profession, bam, hitting each other with, going really, really fast and hitting each other with helmets and stuff. Any of your, I see even like Junior Seau and like lots of players in the NFL as well, right? They, have long-term damage. Have you seen any of your ex-teammates or anything?
No, I haven't. None like that, And I wish they would have had the new rules they have now, Sometimes we say it's getting softer now because now you can't lead with your helmet. But I always wonder, the running back can lead with his helmet, but or you're penalized, you lead with your helmet. Back in the day when we played, you could lead with anything you wanted to lead with. They really wasn't penalizing us for leading with the helmet. But I haven't seen a whole lot of concussions from my friends or guys that I played with. To this day, I haven't seen a whole lot of that. It's other injuries, the legs, the arms, the neck, something like that. But no concussions where it kind of shut them down.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you leave our audience with some words of advice to the younger players who are aspiring, want to become professional football players. Obviously, you know it because you've done it in college and you've done it professionally. So why don't you leave them with some advice of
Yeah,
words of wisdom?
yeah. What I would say to the younger kids coming up, that are involved in the sports, you really want to make that your own. You really want to dedicate yourself to something, and you have to do what the next man won't do. You have to get up early in the morning and put in the work, get on the grind. It takes a lot of work. It's not going to be easy, but you have to do it. Get with good people, good coaches. I always take things one step at a time till I learn how to do it. And then I gradually speed it up, the technique up. But definitely you want to do what the next man won't do. A lot of people aren't willing to get up. And association, who you associate with, plays a big role in your life. If always play with older guys. If you want to work out, play with somebody work out with somebody who's a lot more advanced than you are, because he's going to teach you. You always want to be taught. So that's what I would say. Keep your head up and just focus on what you want in life and stay in those books.
There it is. There it is. Words of wisdom from the CFL legend, Andre Jones. Andre, thank you for coming on the show, brother. Before we let you go, one thing I want to know, who is like your best defensive back of not even all time, but who are some like things who, like when you think of like a really, really good corner, who are some names that are coming off the top of your head?
Well, I like Deion Sanders.
Of course, prime time. Come on, man.
Prime time, yeah.
Prime time was the best one ever. He was
Yes,
the best
yeah.
one. He was locked down. He was
He
locked
could
down.
he could walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah. Rod Woodson was good too. Yeah, he's a hard hitter. Yeah, I like him. Yeah. So yeah, those guys, man, shoot. If you model yourself after them, putting in the hard work like that, you young guys, hey, you stand a chance. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, take care. It's good to see that you're doing good, my brother. Stay healthy.
All right.
Stay active, and we'll catch you next time on the Think Global show.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you, what you're doing, and I give a lot of props out to you. Thank you.